Hello, my name's Curtis Swindle. This is the North Star wheelchair training video for newly hired employees into the wheelchair fleet. We're going to start from the very beginning, such as you would find a client when you go to pick them up. Generally, you're going to have them either in their house or you're going to go in and pick them up. This would apply to clients that have a wheelchair ramp, a proper wheelchair ramp at their home. Or you will find the client if there are steps leading to the home, because we do not take wheelchair clients up or down steps. That's just something we don't do. If the home doesn't have a ramp, all it has is stairs, then it is the home responsibility to have the client at the bottom of the stairs when the driver gets there. So we'll say that this simulation here, this young man is at home, he's in his chair, he has a wheelchair ramp, we've taken our chair into the house. And one of the things we do not do with wheelchair clients is we never can a driver lift a client. You can't pick them up. The very best we can do with the client is we can assist them to get up or sit down. And when I'm speaking of assistance, this is a demonstration of what I mean. So you address your client, sir, we're going to help you get out of that chair into our wheelchair. So you let them know what you're doing, and you're going to give them support to help them stand. And then you're going to continue the support. Your wheelchair is locked. You're going to bring them over to your wheelchair, and you're going to set them down. So this is what we mean in this being the only physical assistance we can provide a client. We cannot pick him up and put him in the chair, or vice versa to take him out. We cannot lift him and the chair to do anything. We just don't do that. The limit of our physical assistance is offering a hand to support. Now, if this wheelchair patient could not be moved with that type of assistance, then we can't move him. It'll be up to the facility that they're at to take care of that action. So now that we've got him in our chair is locked. So we're going to put his leg stirrups in place. Make sure they lock. Make sure that everything's locked in place. All right. So before we move this client, before we move an inch, we must secure his upper body. And that's what these straps are for. You'll find a single strap. There should be a few sets of these in your truck. They're just a single, simple, clip together strap. And what you're going to do is you're going to come in front of the client, ask him to lift his arms a little, and you're going to put the strap under his arms until it's secured under the armpits. Now, if he were a female client, we're going to go above the breast. We're not going to trap the breast. We're not going under. We're going to go on top and up under his armpits. So then we're going to take our strap, and we're going to use the handles of the wheelchair to secure this strap so that it doesn't spin around his body. So we just simply make a couple of loops around the arm of the chair. This is also going to take out excess slack to make the strap perfect for him. So this is about what I need. So I'm going to clip it in. I'm going to tighten up any excess. Now, the safety that this strap is providing him, in addition to what we're going to put on him in the van, right now, if I'm wheeling him down the sidewalk to the van or wherever I'm coming from, a driveway with a slant, anything, there's nothing that's going to happen that's going to cause him to fall out of this chair now. If he, most wheelchair patients, they have illnesses, that's why they're on a wheelchair van. So you just never know. He could have, he could pass out, anything could happen. And he lose control of his body, well now he can't fall out of the chair. because we've got him secured. So again, that's the only purpose of this strap. So now what we're going to do is we're going to keep a hand on his wheelchair. We're going to unlock the wheels, always keeping a hand on the wheelchair. And now we're going to take him to the ramp. Now if you look at our ramp, you'll notice that our ramp has been lowered onto a flat, even surface. So if you go to a residence or a facility where there's an angle to the parking lot or the concrete, that's not ideal because the ramp is going to follow whatever uneven surface that is. So what we want to do is we want as level of a surface as we can with enough room in front of it to negotiate the wheelchair. So we're going to take him. And it doesn't matter that we transport this patient all the time. Always tell the patient, the client, what you're doing when you're doing it. So you would say, you know, Mr. Smith, we're going to go up on the ramp now. And you're always going to back your wheelchairs onto the ramp. Never load them the opposite way. Always load them from the rear. And what's important, you'll see this yellow gate that's flat on the ground right here. When we begin to raise this lift, that yellow gate is going to come up so that this chair, there's no way it can roll off the ramp. Now, this is operated by hydraulics, so it is very important that when we get the chair back here as far as we can get it, we lock the chair. And now it's equally important that we pay attention to that yellow gate down there, because like I said, when we raise this ramp, that gate's going to fold up. If his feet or his toes are in the way, when you push this button to raise the wheelchair, this is a removable hand control. So when you push up, the first thing that's going to happen is that yellow gate's coming up. So it's imperative that you make sure his feet are not in the way, or his toes. Okay, so you can hear the alarm that tells me the ramp's all the way up and connected. So just to kind of go back over things again, in this procedure, wheelchair is locked, chest strap is on. We can never transport any client that doesn't have a chest strap. The other thing I didn't mention that is also a never, the leg stirrups here. We can never transport a client in a wheelchair that does not have the leg stirrups. So if they're missing or just one is missing, then that wheelchair cannot be used to transport a client. Any wheelchair that we use must have leg stirrups on it. This is a safety thing. If it doesn't have leg stirrups on it, then their feet are dragging the ground, and it's very easy to turn their toes backwards and lacerate them, scuff them up, abrade them. You can break their toes. So anybody's wheelchair that doesn't have leg stirrups on it cannot be used. So I'm going to take this up the rest of the way, and you're going to hear the alarm going off, letting us know that the ramp's connected and ready to take the client off of. Can unlock the wheelchair, pull him onto the van. Now, one of the problems you have here, this is a large wheelchair, so you're going to have to scoot this wheelchair around without bumping their feet on anything. So it takes a second. Pay attention to what you're doing. Use caution. And you keep slowly adjusting until you get where the wheelchair will turn and easily go back into the van. Okay, so now we have the wheelchair where we want it to be during transport. We've locked the wheelchair wheels so that it can't move. So now we're going to go to securing the chair to the floor. You accomplish this. These are called quick locks. So the way these work is you'll see the little red tab here on them. You push the red tab down and it'll feed you strap. All right, so these two are for the back of the wheelchair. So one very important factor in securing the back of the wheelchair is that the floor lock straps always have to be on the inside of the back wheels. You cannot have these floor locks. You can't move this to here on the outside and over here on the outside. That's not going to work. You must have the rear straps to the inside of the rear wheels. Now, when you're hooking these up, you can see these are sturdy steel. Some anatomy of the wheelchair that you need to be aware of is what you can hook to and what you cannot hook to. It's all about structural strength. So every wheelchair I've ever seen has this X portion of the frame. Now, what this X portion does is it allows you to collapse this wheelchair together when it doesn't have a client on board. So we don't want this wheelchair collapsing while we have a client on board, which is why we never hook straps to it. If we hook straps to the X frame, as this wheelchair moves, these straps will continue to tighten. Anytime these straps feel any slack in them, they'll click another notch and keep tightening. And what will happen is while you're bouncing down the road on rough terrain, this chair will rock back and forth, and the tension on this will start closing the wheelchair with the client in it until it falls over to the side. So never, ever, ever do we use the X frame of a wheelchair to secure a wheelchair. We do use, however, the square portions of the frame. So you can see that these are welded joints. These are the strongest parts to hook to, and by hooking this in here like this, it's not going to go anywhere. So you have these dials on each side of the floor lock. The purpose of these dials is for you to turn them, and it'll take, here the ratchet, that's taking the slack out. So you put one on, and then you put the other on, and then again you take the slack out. Now the back of the wheelchair is secure. Now we'll go do the front. Okay, now we're going to secure the front of the wheelchair to the floor. I've already got one lock in place. I'm going to put the last one on. On your wheelchair vans, you'll have pouches generally that you keep the spare floor locks in. This keeps them from rattling and banging around on the floor when you're not using them. So we're going to put the last floor lock on. You'll see that these floor locks, all of them swivel. This is the locking mechanism, and this is the tab that you pull up, and you'll see that it retracts from the floor lock to allow you to put it in the grommet and then release it, slide it, and you'll hear it snap and lock in place. So these are the floor tracks that we're putting it in. What you need to know about your floor tracks is if you get a lot of dirt, sand, whatever in here, then these floor locks are not going to seat to where you can slide them and lock them. So every shift you need to sweep out all of your floor tracks. So what's different with the front than the back, if you remember the back floor locks we put on the inside of the back wheels. But now the front floor locks must be placed on the outside of the front wheels. You can't place them on the inside. So this is what aids by one set being set to the inside and one set to the outside. It prevents the chair from having any opportunity to close on itself. So again, now this is not interchangeable. You cannot have these inside the wheel in the front and those outside. This is a one-way system. The back locks are always on the inside of the back wheels. Front locks are always on the outside of the front wheels. So let's continue with putting these floor locks in. You heard it snap into place. That's not good enough. Once you feel like it's secured itself, you must check every floor strap to make sure that it is locked. It is a mechanical system. It can fail, so you always check to make sure it's locked in place. The swivel I told you about, it matters which way you swivel a lock. We're locking the chair this way, so be sure you don't put your strap this way, because in transport it's going to wind up spinning around and it could fall off of the chair. So angle your strap towards your chair, and again we're going to go for a piece of the square frame. So this is fine. You hear it click. We've taken the tension out of it. Might could take a little more. Nope. So that's it. We go over here and put the other one on. See, this is why you check them. That one popped out. So we remove it, put it back in again. We've checked it, we're locked. Take our slack out. Now, we want to check the chair, make sure it's secure to the floor. It is. That takes care of securing the chair to the floor. Now what's left is finish securing the client to the chair. Okay, now we're going to work on securing the client to the wheelchair now that we have the wheelchair secured to the floor. So basically it's the same system as you'll find in your car. You're going to have a lap belt. It also is secured to the floor and the grommet and the tracks. You pull up on this tab and it'll release it. So when you put them in, again, you check it like all the rest to make sure it's locked. And what you're looking for the patient or the client restraints is just have them kind of even with the chair. They can be a little more in this way, but you never want these straps on the outside of the chair. They provide a much more secure fasten if you do it anywhere from the wheels in just a little bit. So you can see where we place these, and that's fine. So here's your seat belt. You're going to take this seat belt. There are many different types of wheelchairs. They're not all exactly the same. Most wheelchairs will have this gap right here nowadays, and that gap's for a purpose. The purpose of that gap is so you can take this belt and feed it right in there, as opposed to having to go over this plate here. If you go over this plate that's on the side, then you have a gap between the top of the plate and the patient's lap. There's going to be a gap of space. By feeding it through here, there is no gap. So that's what we want to do. We're going to take this one, which is the mail-in seat belt, and we're going to feed it right through here and we're just going to let it rest. Now, that's the lap belt. Here's the shoulder belt. You can see the shoulder belt is attached to the side roof of the vehicle, and basically there's a clip on that seat belt that we're going to fasten this to, and this will be the last step in securing the patient or the client. So we'll go up front now and show you that. All right, let's finish securing our client to the chair. So here are the belts that we fed through, one on each side. So remember, I was telling you there was a place that the shoulder belt is ultimately going to connect to. Well, this is it. So basically what you're looking at is you take this, put it in the back side, and slide it down until it snaps in place. Now we're not ready for this yet, so I'm going to take it off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure the lap belt. So you want to kind of see where your lap belt winds up over here, as opposed to this knob here that you're going to hook into. So what I'm looking for is a shoulder belt that's going to come across here, and it's going to serve the function of protecting this part of his torso from going forward. So being right here, I don't see that I have really what I need. I'd rather have this over here a little bit more, just like it would be in your car. So what I can do, I'm going to come back here to my adjusting strap, which every vehicle has, just like your car. I adjusted it a little so it'll pull over more. So I like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the slack out of this one, and I'm going to tighten my belt. So I'll feed this end back through to give me some workspace. So again, just like your car, I want to get him as snug in this as you would in your car. So that looks good. Now all I've got left is the shoulder belt. So now I take the shoulder belt, and just like I showed you before, we're going to put that in that ring, and it snaps into place. So now we're good. Now we can adjust our shoulder belt. Now our shoulder belt is actually doing the job it's supposed to do. If this shoulder belt is instead over here, it's not serving its function. The whole purpose of this shoulder belt, because you have to remember, this upper chest strap that we put on him is a simple plastic clip belt. It's not made to withstand the energy of a motor vehicle accident. These are. So this is the belt in transit with the client. This is the one I want to rely on for saving his back and chest should the worst thing happen. You continue to never take this one off until you're done with the transport. Remember, for this one, we wrapped it around the handles to the stretcher, to the wheelchair. We made it where it clips behind the patient, and I didn't discuss this with you earlier, but the reason we're making this clip behind him is because some wheelchair patients will get angry, aggravated. They complain about the strap under their arm. It's for safety. That's the reason it's placed high where it is. But some will get angry and decide that they'll just grab it and spin it around, and they'll unbuckle themselves en route, which is a really bad thing. So by wrapping it a couple of times around each wheelchair handle and clipping it in the back, he can't get to it. So we don't have to worry about him unsecuring himself during transport. So this is a properly secured patient, chair secured to the floor, client secured to the chair. So where we would be now in the training portion is saying that we're at the facility or at the residence, wherever we were transporting to, and now we're ready to come off the van. So basically, we're going to do everything in reverse. We're going to unbuckle him. Be sure that you don't hit your patient with a strap. That would be bad. So we're going to unfeed the strap from the chair. Lay it out of the way. Same thing for this strap. Take it back out of the chair. All right, we're good. So now we're going to use the lever. Move. This is the other part of the swivel, is to get the buckle out of your way. You're going to do the other one the same. Release the back. Only thing remaining at this point is the wheelchair's wheels are locked. So we're going to unlock the wheels with keeping a hand on the chair. We're going to leave the chest strap on, and we're ready to take him off the van. All you have to do at this point is work around your clamps, and we're good to go. Here, we're going to have to do some sliding again. Watch your patient's feet. Anything you bump their feet on will be steel. Won't feel good. So you have to take a minute. Let your patient know you're going out onto the ramp. You unload them the same way that you load them. Lock your chair. Okay, we're out on the ramp, ready to go down. We've locked our wheelchair wheels again, both sides. Let the client know we're going down. Again, onto a flat, even surface. All right, now that it's seated, put your remote up. Unlock your wheelchair. Draw your client off. Now, at this point, we're going to get the client wherever it is he's going. If that's inside the house, they have a wheelchair ramp. We'll take him up the ramp into the house. If they have steps, we can't do that. So if he has steps, we're here at the front yard. We've got him to the bottom of the steps, and the family's going to take control of him now. So here's the major thing that you must understand. As long as this client is in our chair, he is our responsibility. So once we get to the destination, wherever that is, we want to lock this wheelchair. And if we got them out of a chair, we're going to assist them again and put them back in the chair. We're not going to lift them. Many times this wheelchair was their own, so our responsibility is to get him to the destination. If that's the yard, the last thing we're going to do that I want you to understand is you're going to lock that wheelchair. I don't care if you're bringing him out of the truck and the family's standing right there and says, I got him. Before they can got him, you must lock the chair. We've unloaded our client. We've locked his wheelchair. So we're about to complete our transport. The very last thing we have to do is to take our chest strap back. So you unfasten it, you unloop it, you take it back from him, and now you turn him over to the family. So we're saying that this is this fellow's chair. This is the end of the transport. I've just unloaded him. Here we are. I'm locking his chair, and I step away and I say, thank you. Y'all have a nice day. He is now no longer my responsibility. I don't hang around to watch him, get him in the house or anything. I have completed my task. He has been delivered back. Now I'm going to put up my wheelchair ramp, square away my clamps, and leave. Okay, we're going to specifically talk about the ramp for a minute. The ramp gives you a lot of information. If you'll just take time to look, you'll see that there's all kind of information, warning labels. It'll tell you what the ramp's capable of lifting. You'll find these in a couple of places. One is here, another is forward. Up here in the truck, you'll see more labels. This is the same warning label. This tells you the make and model of the lift itself. And these tend to change. All lifts are not the same. You will see here this handle. The purpose of this handle is if the hydraulic system fails in this ramp, this is a manual hand jack. So you will take this handle out and you'll go to the other side here. And right here, you will see a jack handle insert. And so if your hydraulics fail, you can just simply insert the handle and you can still do your ramp. It's got a sticker here labeling instructions for operating manually to go up and down. So those would be here, and again, here's where you're going to put your jack handle. All ramps have this fail-safe system just in case the hydraulics go out. And that's really about it. During your shift, if you have any problems with your ramp, you would report that to a supervisor. Certainly walk into the shop, report it to the shop guy so they can take a look at it. We don't want a ramp that has any existing malfunctions on it. And that's really all I can think to tell y'all. Welcome aboard.